Hey Leo, let's do a Celtic cross for you. Messages for Leo. Three of Pentacles. First card out is you want to collaborate. You want to work together with somebody. With the Emperor in reverse, though, this is not really collaborating and working with somebody. It's more like ruling over them. Like oppression, power, and control. Maybe you want to work with somebody, but you feel like somebody is trying to control you. And maybe they think that of you, and you're thinking that of them. Now, Four of Swords in reverse. This is a lack of rest. This is being overworked, overwhelmed, burnt out, and stressed, feeling unrested, have trouble sleeping. You feel like somebody is trying to control you. And you want to work with somebody, but you want to map out how exactly what the definition is of working with somebody. Because you both have different ideas of what that is. Now, there is a lack of healing or a lack of recovery within this situation. This is burnout, anxiety, and stress. In the past, there was a Two of Wands. This was a past collaboration, trying to work together, doing what you can to work together as a team. It could also mean a choice. But I think it's more of a collaboration. Like in the past, you try to collaborate with somebody, but then it started to become oppressive and controlling. Whether you felt that of them or they felt that of you. And it's like you just, instead of collaborating, it just became the other stressing the other out. Your goal, your conscious awareness, the best it can be accomplished at present. You feel regretful about something. This is crying over spilt milk. This is focusing on the cups that were lost without focusing on what is left behind you. This is being regretful and remorseful about something. This is also grieving. I don't know if this is unhealthy love, but if this is a way that people learn to love in some way, but it just, the way that someone shows their love is by trying to control someone, and that's not exactly working with love. That's working with manipulation and control. And when somebody wants to control the other, it's not really out of love. It's more out of, you know, control and getting what they want out of that person, whether you them or they you, or in both ways. There's some unhealthy, toxic control dynamic that's going on here, and it's bringing you both a lot of stress and anxiety, and in the past you try to work together with somebody, there could have been a third party situation or a third party interference in some way, either family, friends, or a romantic relationship within your relationship, friends group, family group, or work business wise. Whatever that may be, but it's adding somebody into the situation that kind of made things a lot worse, because even if it's friends or families, it's people using the other third person to talk about the issues that has nothing to do with their partner, which they're having the issues with, and it causes a lot more problems than it does fix it, because then the other person is going to have issues with it. And your friend or family that you go for advice, they already have some kind of opinion and thoughts about what you should do. And if you actually get together back with your partner, you have all this extra stress on the relationship that never needed to be there. If it is romantic wise, it was like you were trying to maintain control over this situation in some way. And it brought a lot of stress and regret to the relationship that you're currently working on, your partnership. And in the future, there is a sense of rejection, being left out in the cold, feeling abandoned, feeling lost. There could be a divorce or a breakup of a family home, or separation of assets, or a loss in resources somehow. Maybe it's a loss of a job or a breakup of a family situation or relationship. Now, the Emperor in the reverse is somebody also who lacks self-control, is someone who is overindulgent and who thinks more about the short-term gains than the long-term gains, someone who can be impulsive and doesn't think things through, and who doesn't look out for the common goal. There's a third-party interference, whether you brought this third party in or they did, but it ended up as a total breakup, and you are regretful that you brought in this third party situation because you've lost some kind of resources because of it. Loss of job, shared resources, home, family situation. How you see yourself, King of Wands, you feel ineffective. You've lost all of your passion, creativity, all your effectiveness could have been due to impulsiveness. Again, someone who, thinks with passion and impulse than common sense and logic, who allows their passions to lead them down to bad decisions. Yeah, this is someone who could have a sex addiction, and somebody who, lacks any follow through, who, doesn't focus on the situation or the relationship that they had, because they were busy spreading their energy into other places. Or you feel like you've lost a lot of energy and creativity, and because you're being controlled in this situation. Perhaps you're trying to control the other in some way. Maybe you got kind of bored within the situation and you've acted impulsively in something that you later regretted, and it could have been due to a third-party situation, or somebody feels like they were betrayed in some way by you. that they weren't valued and they feel betrayed. How they see you as someone who is a fly-by-night kind of person who, offers their cups to people and who plays really sincere, but who doesn't have the staying power, or someone who can be kind of immature and, is someone who offers their cups to everyone and anybody but it's nothing that is actually, that has a lot of substance or staying power within it. Maybe this person feels there's a lack of loyalty and they feel that this is more of a friendship than a relationship, that it became that way, that you were disloyal to them somehow. Or because nights, their movements and their action, maybe they felt like you were offering your cup to somebody else. Maybe they feel like you always kind of did because they don't feel included in your life, or you have always had some kind of third-party situation, whether it was a hobby or other people, or, they always felt like unvalued. And now that you see it, you feel regretful about it because the situation came to an ending and somebody now feels left out in the cold. It became a situation that if somebody did feel unvalued, it was probably spoken about for a while, and this has possibly been a continuous thing. And now your hopes and fears of attaining the goal, the lesson to be learned, blocking your development. Your hopes and fears of attaining the goal. You're hoping to be more logical. To win an argument in some kind of way. To be able to convince somebody of your case or speak some kind of truth that you would be able to convey the issue and set out the way things are going to be. And if they are not agreed to or followed, then you would make the necessary cuts if needed. Maybe there was a lack of compromise in the past on your part, and now and a lack of addressing past issues and a lack of even wanting to compromise or even discuss it. And now that you felt too rigid on the idea of what you wanted things to be or the way that they should be, now it got to the point where there's not a lot of fixing it. It's like it's a situation that you can't control by convincing somebody to see things the way that you want to see it. Even if this person was controlling you, or you were controlling the situation by not wanting to deal with the issues and being uncompromising to it and kind of leaving every time it's addressed. And now somebody doesn't even want to have a conversation about it anymore. And that left you regretful because they felt rejected by you for so long, and now you feel rejected by them. Or vice versa. I don't know which. Maybe you have to learn to be less rigid and less demanding and more compromising to see things in a different perspective, because the King of Swords can be rather black and white. They can be, staunchly on the side of what they find logical, to the point that they are unwilling to see anyone else's perspective. The outcome, what you will gain from this experience, the reward or quality or tool that will help you achieve a breakthrough. This is being more careful on who you allow in your space or who you bring into your space, to not be impulsive in offers that you give to other people or connections that you would like to meet because they brought an issue within your situation. Perhaps you sought them out rather impulsively, trying to escape this situation that you should have been dealing with as a way to distract you instead of dealing with the problem. And all it did was gain. It made the small problem into a bigger problem because nobody wanted to address it. Nobody wanted to speak their truth. And maybe they felt they were barred from speaking their truth because you could have been rather rigid into having a narrative of what that truth was. And maybe it became such an issue because they were frustrated and you became frustrated that you offered your cup to other people, and you became unsatisfied with the situation because they were. And of course, like the other would have been unsatisfied because neither of you felt heard by the other. And maybe there was a lack of listening on both sides or one side, but either way, there was not a lot of love within the situation. And now you need to be more careful on who and what you give offers to. And what is it actually benefiting within your life? If it's just another distraction, is it worth it? Is it worth derailing you from your progress or your relationship or your family? Is it worth it? Because it feels like it's not. It wasn't worth it. And you're regretful for juggling. Because it came to an end because of it. Let me give you advice. I'm sorry, Leo. That sucks. Maybe this was right. It's important to be observant about anyone who you're trying to work with, or or somebody who wants to work with you. Because whoever is going to come back, or whoever you just got done with, or whoever is going to be coming back, or someone around your energy, they are really controlling and oppressive. And every time you try to work with them thinking it would be better, it became the same. And it's like it doesn't mean you guys are awful people or one of you is an awful person. Sometimes a bad relationship could make two awful people. It doesn't mean that you guys are all just awful people. Sometimes it means that you're just awful together, and a bad relationship could turn anyone bad. Or sometimes there is some bad behaviors, toxic tendencies, and the way that things are and are not addressed that just deteriorates things. And perhaps that's something that needs to be looked into. There's a loss, there is a breakup, a divorce, a separation, or at least a feeling of being rejected in some way within a karmic situation. And it feels like it's a loss of a soul tie. It's like, an ending of that karma that was learned. And it was something that needs to be done and cut out with, because you're not improving the other and you're not helping each other grow. It just became a really toxic cycle about regret and being on the fence if you're happy with something or if you should invest, because if you're not happy with something, you kind of already know, because if you're asking yourself that, then it's kind of already a confirmation that you're not, because if you were, you would just say, yeah, I'm super happy. You wouldn't have to think about it, or yeah, I'm super miserable. The fact that you are unsure is either that you don't want to admit it or you don't want to deal with the change. But the situation is not for you. It's time to cut it out, and it's become cold and rigid. And I think there will be an end to the soulmate situation, because somebody, maybe you both feel rejected by the other in many different ways, and I don't know exactly what that is and then how. It's someone who can be quite harsh with communication, somebody who can use communication as a weapon sometimes, maybe a sharpness in the way that they communicate, or a lack of wanting to communicate or compromise. But regardless of what it is, it's not for you. And it's time to put the work into yourself. If you're juggling, it's really because you don't want to see what you already know. And if you're continually on the fence, it kind of tells you that you're not really happy within a situation. And is it fair to keep the other in a situation that you're both unhappy in? Because you would rather be with somebody and unhappy than not with somebody and alone. Or there's some kind of codependent situation that is here, but I feel like it's going to come to an end because it needs to. There's a need to put in the work into yourself, and whatever the situation is, it became a really enabling situation, and it made you both stop growing. You feel like if you put the work in now, there's going to be a lot of work to put into do damage control. And you're regretful for the juggling and trying to put work into someone or something else. And now you're deciding on trying to perpetuate a situation that should have ended for a while now, that you know is not right for you, because neither of you are happy. And you're on the fence if you should put the work in again, and even though you know the situation is failing, but I don't think it will be the best for either of you. But of course, I'm not, what's best for you intuitively. But if it's not done for the reason of love, then it's done for a reason of manipulation and control and exploitation in a way. And if you're okay with them getting that from you, or you getting that from somebody, from this person or situation, then there is a certain amount of karma that a person will incur from that. But yeah, I don't know. But either way, it doesn't seem like a very peaceful situation. And but I guess, you know what's best for you, because I feel like if you do decide to put the work in, it's kind of like delaying the inevitable, But that's what I got for you, Leo. Feel free to like, share, subscribe. comment below. It really helps the algorithm. Donation box below if you feel moved to do so, to donate. It helps out the channel a whole bunch. If not, no worries. Still love you lots, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.